and welcome to the Women of Color in Business podcast. I am Lynette Cottrell, your host, and I am so delighted you decided to join us today. We are going on a transformative journey of embracing radical self-love and unlocking the full potential in both our personal and business lives. This podcast is dedicated to empowering us, Black women entrepreneurs, to break free from self-limiting beliefs and guiding us towards our best self. So if you're just starting your business or you've been at it for a while but feel stuck, we got you. Welcome to your safe place. We honor your unique business journey. Here is where you remove your mask, wear your own style of comfort, and get ready to soar. Together, we will grow exponentially and challenge the statistics of how our businesses headed and founded by Black women entrepreneurs, start, grow, and last. So enjoy this great episode and be sure to help us grow by letting your sisters in business know about us so they can also follow us, like us, give us 5 stars, and leave comments. We want to hear from you and know what you want to hear from us. Together, we're going to build a great ecosystem here, impacting the number of Black women-owned businesses that grow and last. All right, sisters, let's jump right into it. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us again for another episode of Women of Color in Business. As you know, our mission is to bring you beautiful women of color in business and have them share their entrepreneur journey with you so that you learn as you grow. And today we have such a woman with us, and I'm going to start by allowing her to introduce herself and introduce her business. Welcome, Latoya.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. Hello, everyone. I'm Latoya Stirrup, co-founder of Kazmaleje, and it's a company that I started with my 2 sisters, Latasha and Latrice, to create innovative hair tools and accessories that specifically address the needs of those of us with curly, coily hair, but can be used with all hair types, extensions, as well as wigs.
Oh, wonderful. Beautiful. So, Latoya, how long have you been in business?
So we actually incorporated the business in 2016, but we released the products on the market in 2019.
Okay, wonderful. And you said you started your business with your 2 sisters.
Yes.
So did you have any entrepreneur models in your family?
Absolutely. So our great-grandfather actually was an entrepreneur through and through. He came to Miami in the late 1800s from the Bahamas and was a real estate mogul. He was doing affordable housing before it was ever called affordable housing. And he was developing houses with our great-grandmother to create opportunities for Bahamians as well as other Black Americans coming to South Florida to build what would become Miami.
Beautiful. That's a great story.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Nice to have that in your history, huh?
Yeah. And then, there's lots of other entrepreneurs outside of that. Our grandmother on our mom's side, she owned a farm in North Florida around Tallahassee. She was a tobacco farmer. So, when you just sort of go back in your history, you see that your ancestors were right there with you and they provide that support. So,
yes, that energy is already in your
history. There.
Yes. Beautiful.
Thank you.
So in getting your business started, what would you say was your primary passion behind it?
The passion behind launching Kazmaleje was really trying to solve for my own wash day. I was tired of long wash days, a lot of breakage while I was detangling, and hair tools that just didn't seem to cut it. And I went natural in 2008. And so when you just look at how much the landscape has changed, but specifically back then, you were starting to see brands coming out, right? You had the Shea Moisture, Miss Jessie, Daughter. So you were starting to see all these fantastic brands who were creating products for us specifically, but something was still missing. And that's where the aha kind of came from. What if it's the hair tools that are needed to work better with our hair than what we're currently using? So yeah, so that's what kind of was the moment that was like, let's do something different. And what we did is that we basically changed the teeth on our combs to mimic your fingers. So they're completely round and they're smooth and they're also conical in shape, meaning it's thicker at the base like your finger and skinnier at the tip. And then the tip on our teeth are also round. So you get almost that sort of like finger detangling, finger combing experience, but you're using hair tools instead.
Beautiful, beautiful. And what I love about your product, when I was looking at your product, is what it reminds me of is those days when you're a little girl and your mom's combing your hair, and you're doing all kind of, tighten it up, and oh, it hurts. And if only we had Kazmaleje back then, for some of that relief. Because it always felt like your mom was mad about something when she was doing your hair. But those were the tools she had,
That's
right?
What we had. Exactly. I can't tell you how many women have come up to us and were like, you changed my experience. Where were you when I was little?
Yes.
And also, we have moms who are like, my wash day with my kids is just completely different now. They're not running away from me. It allows them to bond. When you just think about how many stories we have as a people, as a collective around our hair. And some of it's traumatic, some of it's beautiful, but what if we can really elevate and change that? So in that way, the way that we care for our hair and we experience our hair is more love and care and not pain and anxiety and all the things that we've kind of grown up with. Yeah.
Right. I love that because I think hair care is a part of our body, just like we should take care of our body, with love and care. We should do the same for our hair. It shouldn't be something we dread to do.
Exactly.
It should be something we love to do and we do lovingly. So I love that your product incorporates that. Not only is it a tool that makes it easier to do, but there's an energy in it, like a positive energy in using it, that care aspect of it. I love that. I love that. So the top problem you were solving when you designed your product was to because to your point, we had products out there for washing our hair, for conditioning our hair, even special lines for coloring our hair.
Yeah.
We were using the same old tools for combing through, and to your point, breakage, or you would comb your hair, because I've had natural hair for decades now. You comb your hair and you see so much hair come out in the comb.
Yeah.
And we thought that was natural. You're just shedding hair all the time.
Exactly.
So what is your opinion of that process? Did you find that your instrument helps to alleviate a lot of that too?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I remember when we did a prototype. So we were doing some 3D printed prototypes in late 2015, like winter of 2015. And I did a split test on my own hair. I was like, let me go ahead and test it out first. So it was a wide tooth comb design. And I had just like another regular wide tooth comb that I bought probably from like CVS or someplace, or like a hair store.
Right.
And I'm used to what my hair looks like when I comb that one, right? Wads coming out.
Yeah.
And then when I did our prototype on the other side of my hair, it was minimal. And I remember I sent a screenshot. I took a picture and I sent it to my sisters on our text. And I was like, you guys, look at this. Like, it actually works. And that's what really kind of made us go ahead and move forward, because we had a real life example. And even now, like, those tools are the only thing that I use on my hair when I'm talking about detangling and styling, because it is such a difference. And to know that, we've been able to really help other women and men and kids experience their hair in a new way is fantastic, because we can really kind of create that dialogue now to where you're not, you don't have those horror stories. And you can see the difference, because yes, your hair naturally sheds. Shedding is a natural thing. But when you see excessive like breakage, like that's what you don't want. So let's move into more healthy hair practices and know the difference.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that. A lot of great information. So, in bringing your company to market, what would you say was your greatest challenge?
Greatest challenge, I would say, so capital for entrepreneurs is always a challenge, right?
Yes,
You always need
yes,
funding. So I'm
yes.
not going to go to the obvious. I would say another challenge was getting into the mindset of being an entrepreneur.
Okay.
So I, so I, my background is advertising. So I worked in ad agencies up until about 2013. And then I started to do like freelance consulting and doing it on my own independently. So
Okay.
working with ad agencies as an independent contractor. So I technically was already sort of an entrepreneur for a while before I started the business. But the
Gotcha.
difference once I started the business was that this was a completely different role as an entrepreneur. What I was doing as a consultant contractor was still very much aligned to what I had been doing professionally. So it wasn't too much of a leap. Once
Right.
you create a product and a brand, now you're responsible for an entire thing. And now you
Mm.
also become a salesperson. So that
Ah,
aspect of like getting into the mindset of like selling something was a bit of a leap because I'm
yes.
used to being in service, right? As an ad agency, you're providing a service to another company to provide, strategic thinking or campaigns and things like that. So that mindset was a huge sort of like shift for me because it required me to think differently and to kind of stop doing some of the things that I was familiar with doing as an employee, right? So sitting on my emails and checking my emails all the time and like project managing, I had to kind of like learn how to step out sometimes and like see and then plan and strategize. So that was a
Mm.
bit of that was some learning curve that had to happen there. It was painful at some points, right? Because
Uh-huh.
just realize how much the buck truly stops with you. There's no,
Right.
especially when you're in the beginning, you're kind of like in it by yourself.
Yes,
You're not be
yes.
able to like hire other people to be contractors or consult with you. So you're trying to solve for a lot
Right.
by yourself. So that was a bit of a
Yes. So true, so true. And that's true in a lot of our journeys.
yeah,
You dropped a lot of great gems in there. I love that you spoke about having to be the salesperson.
yeah.
Because we, as the creators, we're in tune with the mission of what we want to get out there. But
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes we have to turn into the salesperson in order to get it to market. And that's where some of us fall short, and we have to look for resources to shore us up. Okay, I need to learn more
Mm-hmm.
about this. I need to, you know, practice speaking more. I need to let somebody listen to me and give me feedback more.
Right.
I need to build up even just that the challenge of being confident enough, that courage
Mm-hmm.
to go out and talk about it. That's great points you made. A lot of us struggle with that, so I'm glad you shared that. So were there any resources you went to make you stronger in that area of talking about your business to people?
Yes. So one of the first conferences that I went to the summer of 2019. So we launched the products in January of 2019. We started to ship to our pre-order customers because we did like a crowdfunding campaign on iFund Women, and then we also pre-sold at different beauty conferences and events and
Okay.
things. And so that summer, I went to Build, Grow, Scale. So it's a very D2C focused kind of a conference. And that was great because it really kind of got me in the mindset of like what D2C looks like for ecom and how you're like selling and you're doing different things. A lot of the tactics that they talk about in those conferences don't necessarily always work well for brands like us who also are in retail, because what you
Gotcha.
do in D2C impacts how you show up in retail, and retailers always want to have the best price. So the
Gotcha.
price competition and the driving of the pricing and changing your price point for a day to see if it performs better doesn't work well when you're also in retail.
Uh,
So I had to kind of learn a little bit of that too, but it just got me in the mindset of conversions and how to really kind of bring customers down the funnel to get them to convert. And
ah.
even though I was in advertising professionally, this side of the game is very different. And
Uh-huh.
always when you now become the client, your mind requires a different thinking, right? Because you're kind of not
Yes.
sitting in your problems and you're like, what do I do? How do I solve this?
Right, right.
But whereas before you were the one coming with the solutions. So, there was that whole thing. And I would say some other resources that I tapped into. I was already really plugged into a lot of resources here in Miami. So going into some different conferences and going to like Venture Cafe is an event that used to happen here in Miami every Thursday with resources as well as speakers and things for entrepreneurs. And then I also just started to apply to different grants and pitch competitions, which then allowed me access to other communities like New Voices, Black Girl Ventures, I Fund Women, Alice. Hello, Alice is a great platform. So just really, and especially if you think about it, 2019, 2020, that's pandemic time. So now everything is all virtual. The great thing about that is that even though everything was virtual, it was now accessible because you could do a lot of things from home. Whereas when we were outside, you know, you had to pick and choose what you could go to because you could only be in one place at one time.
Right.
So everything being virtual, you can really kind of like work the virtual scene from the comfort of your own home. So it worked really well to get into and tapped into a lot of different ecosystems, which was really helpful.
Got you. A lot of good information. Now you spoke about learning how to convert your client and how to control the funnel. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So funnels is basically, so when you think about a sales funnel, you're taking somebody from being a cold customer, someone who does not know you, and you want to bring them down to being a hot or a warm customer to where they now buy from you. Okay. So in D2C, you can set up email funnels, SMS funnels, different things to trigger a message to be sent to them to help move them down the purchasing funnel. So then that now they convert and then they buy from you. And then now you also want them to become repeat customers. So if you're starting a business, especially a retail sort of product-based business, you want to make sure that your funnels are really tight and you have those sort of automatic emails in place to do that work for you. You don't have to send them manually. There are systems that you can set it up one time, set the triggers, and then they send the email based off of whatever the particular behavior is that you built into your funnel.
Wonderful, wonderful. Great information, guys. I hope y'all taking notes. If you're selling direct to your customer, you need to know this because a lot of times we get overwhelmed. But to your point, this is a system you can set up it becomes automated, right?
Exactly.
Not something you have to tend to all the time, but you set it, you understand your strategy, you set it up, it's automated, and then you review your results to make sure it's working.
Exactly. And you can continue to optimize. You could change the creative so it doesn't get stale. And, you know, if you're on Shopify, Shopify has tons of plugins that you can use. Klaviyo is one that a lot of people use. MailChimp, if you're already using MailChimp, I know MailChimp also has funnels built in. Some people use ClickFunnels, like if you're more so into like coaching or providing like mentoring, you know, if you're on the service side of the business, a lot of people use like ClickFunnels for that. So there's different things that you could set up, but definitely look for systems to make it easier so you don't have to do the heavy lifting.
Right. Because we already have the challenge of wearing all the hats when we start our own company. We're doing everything and we're not really good at everything. So the better the resources, the better our success.
Exactly. Yep.
So when you were looking at the challenge of funding your business, what was your primary source? Was it personal funds? Was it family investment, bank loan, grants, or what exactly did you utilize?
Yeah. So it was a bit of a mix. We had an angel investor give us a bridge loan when we were manufacturing, which helped us to pay for our molds, as well as our first production run. And then we had some family investment. We did do crowdfunding. So the pre-orders helped to also cover some of those costs because we basically secured people buying the product from us before it was actually produced, which is what crowdfunding is. And then after that, it was really pitch competitions, grants, and things like that. And we have not really used a traditional bank line of credit per se just yet, outside of like having a credit card attached to our checking accounts. What we're going to be looking into now is doing VC funding. So looking to bring on actual investors who can really kind of help us move the needle when it comes to the business.
Got you. Beautiful, beautiful. So what was your experience like in pitch competitions?
Yeah, no, pitch competitions it's all about storytelling. So you have to know your business, understand where you want your business to go, and then why this particular fund, program, grant, whatever makes sense for you and how it will help you
Gotcha.
get from A to Z. So you have to
Gotcha.
really have a good handle on all of that when you're applying to these different pitch competitions and or grants. And you
Okay.
just have to be comfortable with being the spokesperson, telling your story, and being compelling and just being honest. They want to see
Right.
authentic responses. They want you to be just open about what you're going through, where you're going, how you're going to get there, what they can do to help. And some people get intimidated when it comes to applying to different like grants and pitch competitions, but if you don't apply, you'll never know.
Gotcha.
You have to shoot your shot. If you don't shoot
Yes,
your shot,
yes.
you'll never know what you could possibly get. And I'll tell
Right.
you that we've raised over the years almost like $400,000 just
Oh,
through grants and
beautiful.
pitch competitions.
Yes,
Yeah.
beautiful.
And
And
every little
doing,
bit counts, from $5,000 to $100,000. Just
got you,
take it where you could get it.
got you, got you. So in doing that process, did you find that your story pivoted any or it evolved any? Did that process help you to fill out your story, or did you have your story set from the beginning?
Pretty much have the story set from the beginning, and I would say that that's definitely tied to just our professional background, being in advertising, and the
Got
idea
you.
of pitching and brand storytelling.
Yes.
Yeah, the story of the brand hasn't changed much. The journey has changed, right? Because we've grown over the years. We've launched in different retailers. We've launched different products. So that has changed. So the story has grown tremendously from when we first launched. In fact, Omi, who is over Black Girl Ventures, she shared with me the other day, like our original pitch deck from 2019. She was like,
Uh-huh.
look at how far you've come since 2019. So that was fun to look back at and see the growth of it. But the core and the essence of the brand hasn't really changed much.
Got you. Beautiful, beautiful. So in the black hair care industry, do you consider
Mhm.
yourself in the black hair care industry or
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. In the black hair care industry, how would you say your industry has changed in the last, say, 5 years?
So within Black hair specifically, it has changed a lot. When you just look at retail, right? So now you're starting to see a lot more Black founded brands on your
Yes.
shelf, which
Mm-hmm.
is beautiful, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
not just seeing sort of the legacy brands that have been there for years, and it opens the floor and opportunities for new things to continue to happen, right? New perspectives, new customizations, new ways of thinking about hair care. What has also changed is that you're seeing more independently owned beauty supply stores now. So,
Ah,
Black women are like, we want to take back our experience when it comes to how we buy products by opening up our own beauty supply stores that provide a much more catered experience. And really, we speak the same language as our customers. So that's a
right.
beautiful thing too. And so Black independently owned beauty supply stores were some of our first retailers to carry
Oh,
our brand. So, that
great.
journey has been fantastic because we saw each other and each other when we would have our
Yes.
introductory calls. And it's like, yes, you're speaking exactly my language. And they're like, you're speaking our language. So it just
Uh-huh.
all works well together. And that's the exciting part when you talk about Black hair care specifically, is the growth of it, right? We're
Yes.
really kind of taking back the landscape by providing products that are solution focused as well as experiences that care for who we are as customers, because we over index in hair care and beauty anyway. So let's make
Yes.
sure we're spending our money where our money counts the most.
Great point. Beautiful point. I was speaking to another entrepreneur who
Mhm.
she cultivates bringing Black-owned businesses together in one
Okay.
place because she was doing a doctorate and doing her research, she discovered that products made for us
Mhm.
by other people, by non-Black people, are more
Mhm.
toxic for
Yep.
us. Like they
Mhm.
don't take that care that we take when we produce things for ourselves. So
Right.
to your point, there's a different level of care we take, when we're making something for each other than
Mhm.
anyone else will ever take. So
Exactly.
I agree exactly with what you're saying. Beautiful. So how is it working with your sisters in your business? How's that family dynamic working for you?
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun working with my sisters because we're very similar in ways and then different in other ways, which is how we're able to fit together nicely. And we had division in roles from the beginning. So
Got
I
you.
kind of had the role of like project manager, overseeing operations and everything in the moving parts. My youngest sister, Latrice, she really likes detail and like task oriented things. So she took over shipping and logistics. So she was the one shipping our products out in the days before we launched and had a 3PL, which is a third party logistics company. So a fulfillment center, basically.
Got you.
And so she was doing, well, she still does customer service emails and things like that, but she was doing the shipping and the all the things that come in terms of getting the product out the door.
Got
And
you.
then my middle sister, Latasha, she works closely with me on like product innovation, product development, as well as marketing. So we kind of have division, which makes it easy for communication, right? Because we're not sort of like all in the same space. It
Right.
gives the opportunity for each one of us to kind of own something. So that helps with
Yes.
communication and just the flow of the business.
Right.
So yeah,
Right. That's beautiful. I love that you all have your own thing that you manage, that you're passionate about, that you are skilled in, and helped
exactly.
it
Thank you.
to build that synergy, to keep the
Right.
business going. I think Black family-owned businesses are great. They leave legacies.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel is really special about your Black family-owned business?
What's really special is that we are tapping into a specific need when you talk about Black hair care and Black beauty and just hair care overall, right? Because we do have customers who are not Black people
Uh-huh.
and do talk about the hair tools being able to be used across the board, but we're coming at it from a creative perspective of our own experience. So that's why we very much identify with Black hair care. And I think that that's the exciting part because so my oldest son is the same age as the business. So we incorporated the business in May 2016. He was born in November 2016. And then we
Ah,
also just had uh, another son last year. He'll be a year in a couple of weeks. And so just them seeing this part of me, right? They don't know mommy when mommy,
yes.
they know mommy
Yes.
as a business owner. So
Yes.
seeing that, my oldest son, he was there when we were packing out our first shipments to send to HSN. He was there when we went on shelf at Target first, for
Ah,
the first time. So he is very much aware of what this looks like and the work that goes into it. So I think that that's the best legacy is the fact that we're showing other opportunities and other ways of doing things to my kids. My sisters don't have
right.
kids yet, but just that aspect of it, they can see and really understand that you can be a business owner, you can create something new and unique that speaks to you and to what you want to see and bring into the world. So that's a huge
Wow.
part of the impact that we're having.
Yes, that's very powerful too. I love that.
Thank
That
you.
very powerful. So looking at where your business is today from when you started it, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
5 years from now, definitely global, right? So we already have some level of distribution in countries around the world. We have, here and there, sort of independently owned retailers who are like, we want to bring your product over here because we
Oh,
want to service the market in XYZ country. But I would love to have like really good distribution globally because we are global, right? People with
yes,
curly textured hair are all over the place. And
everywhere.
the people in those countries don't necessarily have access to the same level of products that we have here. So making sure that we can support them on their journey wherever they are is
Right.
a huge part of where we kind of want to see ourselves in about 3 to 5 years.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that. I love that.
Thank
So,
you.
in being an entrepreneur with all the challenges of being a mother, a
Mhm.
sister, a business owner, what would you say you like most about being an entrepreneur? And also, what do you like least about being an entrepreneur?
What I like most about being an entrepreneur is the freedom it brings. I
Mm.
remember when I was employed and sitting at my desk and like looking outside and like, how can I be one of these people driving down the street at like 2:00? Yeah.
I feel you. I'm like, what do they do that they're not at work, right?
Right. What's their story? How are they outside? Are these
Yeah, the
people that
people
are
are out
like
shopping
on
while I'm
watch?
working. Yeah.
Right. And I'm in behind this desk in this office. Like, how do I get over there? And so now to be that person over there, right?
Yes.
I think is what's really exciting. And just the freedom of it, and not that it's like a complete party all the time, because that's not what it is
Right.
at all.
Right.
But the fact that I can shape my day, and if I'm like, I just need to go get a massage because the day is a mess, I can do that, right? So the freedom and the flexibility in how I can control my day, and the fact that I am working from home. So my 11-month-old, he's here with me all day.
Right.
Even, with my son, he's in the first grade now. So we go pick him up and he comes back here. And so to have that experience to where I can really be accessible to my kids, and I'm not in an office 9 to 5, and just how that impacts the family and the connection is something that I really enjoy.
Right, right. So to your point, the freedom, and you get more control of creating your life, the
Exactly.
things you want to do, because like a lot of mothers who are give birth, and then after a certain amount of time, because of their jobs, they have to
Right.
find a
They have to go back.
babysitter. They got to drop the child off and go work for someone else. But there's a difference in the freedom of owning your own business. And that's the
Exactly.
beautiful benefit of it, right?
Beautiful benefit. Yep.
And what would you say you like least about, or you enjoy least about being an entrepreneur?
What the least of it that I would say this is the lack of stability, and more so because I am a mom and we have a family. So insurance is something that you have to think about, right?
Right.
And yes, there's Obamacare, but it's not always like the best, just being honest. And I'm glad that with my partner, he's able to carry the boys on his insurance versus them being on mine. So I have that option. But if I was a single mom, I would not necessarily have that option. So
Right.
entrepreneurship is fantastic, but it has its drawbacks in terms of security, because I don't have a corporate job. So I don't have corporate level type insurance where you get that great, grade A access to doctors and things like that. It's different. And I would say that those are the things that you kind of miss, is the stability that corporate jobs give you when it comes to like healthcare and things like that. That's something that I would, I think is needed.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Understood. That's some of the other side of it. Wonderful. So when you think about taking care of yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, what do you do to make sure? Because a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we feel guilty about resting, because there's always something in our mind. I could be doing this instead. Let me get up and go get that done. Yes. But we also have to keep in mind that we have to keep our cup full for ourselves, because with the empty cup, whatever we're doing late at night trying to get done, it's a poor quality. It's not going to be what it would be if you rested and got back up tomorrow and got it done. So how do you keep the lines clear between work time and personal time? And two, what are some of your top modalities that you use to give yourself that self-care and self-love, and make sure you're taking time to keep yourself going?
Well, when I listen to my body, I listen to how I'm feeling.
Beautiful.
And if I'm like, I just need to take a nap, like I have a headache right here on my eyebrow, I'm like, I just need to take a quick nap. Like I just need to lay down. I will go and I will lay down. Like you have to listen to what's kind of happening, especially being a mom, right? Because I'm being drawn in so many different places. And especially once it's afternoon time, that's homework time, that's everything else that's happening. So I need to make sure that I can be fully aware and present for my kids. And the first major thing is listening. And not feeling guilty for taking care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, who will? And then
Right.
if you're gone, who's going to really take care of your kids, your business, your family, etc.? Who's going to be there to do that? So you need to make sure that you are filled up as much as you can be to show up the way that you need to show up. I would also say that finding what kind of works for you. So whether it's meditation, prayer, gospel music, yoga, whatever your thing is, find it and do it and try to be consistent with it. And developing some level of like a ritual, right? So if you have if you have time in the morning, like using your mornings to help set up your day, things like that. Time blocking, so making sure that you block time on your calendar for certain things. If you want to have like a regular nap time in the afternoon, like build that into your schedule to make sure that you really have that time set aside.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I don't know how revolutionary it is for you to say you listen to your body, because most people don't. But it's a very simple concept. You're like, I just listen to my body. But most people negate what their body is telling them. It's
Yeah.
like, you're getting this very obvious message, but you have all these stories in your mind that say, I need to do more because I need to do this
Right.
because, as opposed to simply listening to your body. I got a headache. I need to take a nap. See y'all later. I'm tired.
Literally.
I need to go rest. See y'all. I'm feeling sleepy. I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
You would be amazed how revolutionary that is, that you just listen to your body. So to my listeners, please simply listen to your body. It's only telling you what you need to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
100% has your back.
Right. Right.
Nothing
And
else
take the
has.
whisper.
Yes.
Take the whisper. You don't want it to yell at you.
No.
Like that's when it's gone wrong.
Exactly.
Take
Take
the
the whisper and go. Yeah, I think I will go take a nap. Just take it softly. Don't make it yell at you, because when it starts yelling, then you're really in pain. It's really going to cost you a lot more money. You're really going to be laid up for days. So listen to the whisper. So I love that you simply listen to your body. And those modalities that you discuss, great examples. Just find one or two that fits who you are and just be consistent with it. Because another issue I find is that a lot of times we think that self-care has to be limited to when we go on vacation,
right,
or the weekend, or once a month, as opposed to every day. We need to take time to take care of ourselves.
Yeah. And if it's just going to sit outside, get you some sun.
Exactly.
Like just do something.
Yeah, it doesn't have to cost you.
Put a song on, dance a little bit. Yeah.
Say that again.
I said, put your favorite song on, dance a little bit. Just release, move a little bit. Especially now, post-COVID, a lot of people are still working from home. Yes. And so it's easy to just like stay on your couch or like work from your bed all day.
Yes.
So you need to like move, get the juices flowing, and it'll help get some of the aches out of your joints too.
Definitely. Move around, stretch, and walk a little bit.
Yeah.
So share with us, have you ever had those days, or do you have those days when you think, I don't want to do this anymore?
Yeah, I have those days, but it doesn't go too far.
Got you.
It doesn't go too far. It's just usually those days when you're like, oh man, it'll just be so much easier to have a job. But then, is that really what you want? Right? That's where it goes. And it's like, no, that's not what I want. So let me just be quiet. Get back to like solving whatever fire I'm dealing with at the moment.
Right.
It's just because this can get really tough. And a lot of times it is you trying to solve for big problems with rubbing pennies together. And that's where it gets annoying, because you're like, I just have so many things that I want to do. And you're like, but man, where's the funding for it? And especially when you're in growth, it's just you're always like on this hamster wheel. I had dinner with a founder friend last night, and we were both just talking about getting off this like constant cash flow chase, because you're getting deals, you're getting all these opportunities, and you need the cash to make it happen. And that's where a lot of the stress comes from when you're sort of a growing brand. is that you're just always trying to like solve for problems. And those are the moments where you're like, man, I just remember when I used to go to work, get a check, go home, and I like left all of that at the office.
Right.
Like the ease of that just doesn't exist the same. But then
Gotcha.
you're also, the fulfillment of it isn't the same on that
Right.
side. For
Right.
me, I wanted something where I was able to like flex my creativity and could own my day and my schedule. And so now that I have that, let's not complain so
Right.
much about
Right.
the other things that come from it. Let's just
Right.
find solutions for the things that we're looking to solve for. So,
Exactly.
you get petty with yourself for a second, but then you snap out of it.
Got it. Got it. Beautiful. I love that you shared that, because a lot of times we feel like we're not allowed to be human. Okay, we're our own boss. We're building a business. We can't ever falter, and that's just unreal. You are
It's
going to,
unreal.
if you're doing it right, you're going to be
Yeah.
stressed out sometimes, right?
Right.
That means you're really pouring into it. If you're doing it right, you're going to be confused sometimes, because that means you want to have solutions, right?
Exactly.
So it's going to get too much sometimes, but to your point, you realize that you you get petty for a minute, like you said. You're like, then you realize, okay, the benefit outweighs the cost. So let me just get back to
Right.
solving this, because I gotta figure this out somehow. So let me
Right.
just get back to it. But you are allowed to get petty sometimes with yourself.
Yeah.
You're allowed to be human. I love that you share that.
Thank
So
you.
looking at how your business has
Mm-hmm.
grown from when you first started, when you first conceptualized your idea, what surprises you most about what you have accomplished, you and your sisters have accomplished with your business so far?
Yeah, I would say the fact that we're still here, that we made
Beautiful.
it through the pandemic, and we're still growing. A lot of
Yeah.
businesses don't make it to this point, right? So
Mhm.
you have to kind of celebrate that. And, we've been able to grow our product line. We've been able to continue to connect with new customers and create new experiences and build new partnerships with fantastic brands like Shea Moisture and Miss Jessie's, and do fun
Mhm.
things, right? So there's been a ton of growth, and it's all a part of the journey, right? Because when you're in it, you're like, just focus on what's next, what's next, what's next.
Yes.
And a lot of
Yes.
times you don't get to step back and be like, wow, we've done quite a lot.
Right.
A lot of
Right.
times I'll share our story with people and they're like, you've done a lot in like
Yeah.
4 years. I'm like,
Right.
yeah, yeah. You're right. I think we kind of have.
Yeah, you have
So
to,
yeah,
just speaking about your partners. I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. She works with them, and them. That's just great. You've done a lot.
yeah.
And to your point, sometimes we're so busy in it that we don't step back and see what has happened. Because we're still
Hmm.
in it. It's
Yeah.
like we haven't taken the break. We don't have the break to sit back and say, oh wow, that was wonderful, because we're on to the next thing. And I love
Exactly.
that you
Yep.
said your business is growing, because that's what we all wish for our business, to
Hmm.
not just get it started and off the ground and conceptualize into whatever product or service, but to have it grow and to
Right.
have it continue to grow and to figure out what we need to do for that next step of growth. So
Hmm.
great, great. I love that you're surprised that you're still here, and I'm so happy you're still here. Okay, so now we're gonna you have a couple of marketing events that are coming up.
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit about those events.
Yeah, so if you are familiar with Miami at all and you'll be here for Art Basel, we have a couple of events happening during Art Basel week. So that is the first week in December. So the events and the dates are still being defined, but stay tuned for Soul Basel. Schedules and everything will be dropped. So look for us to pop up during Art Basel. We'll be partnering with Royal Coils. I know they're doing something exciting at the Lyric Theater here in Miami on
Oh,
Sunday, December 10th. And then we also have a fantastic feature that just dropped on Forbes.com as a part of Forbes Black. A fantastic contributor writer there did an awesome write-up on us about the Shea Moisture Next Black Millionaire program. So you can
great.
learn about that. We have a docu-series that's on Roku that features Kazmaleje, as well as two other fantastic founders, Dorian of Undefined and Neil of Scotch Boys. And you can just learn about our journey as being founders and some of the behind the scenes, right? Not all the flashy Instagram things, but actually like the work that goes into being a founder of a brand.
Great. I'm glad you shared that. Listeners, check out all that great information and content. That's a lot to learn. Great. We love that. We love learning and growing.
Absolutely.
Okay, Latoya. So now we're going to switch to what we called our little personal session where I ask you 4 or 5 personal questions just so our listeners can get to know the person, Latoya.
Okay.
They've gotten to know the businesswoman, Latoya. So we're going to ask about the person, Latoya. So our first question is dear to my heart. What is your favorite food or cuisine?
So I'm not a person of favorites. I love a lot of different things, but I would say that I'm gonna say conch.
Okay, interesting.
I like fried conch. Yeah.
And tell us and for our listeners, tell them what conch is.
So conch is a shellfish that is very much, it's a Bahamian thing. So when you go to the Bahamas, you'll find like cracked conch, fried conch, and it's definitely tied into Miami because Bahamas, Miami is like cousins. Basically.
Yes.
And so with us having Bahamian heritage and roots, that conch has been a part of our growing up since forever. And just being in Miami. Fried conch and fries is one of those things that you just eat it. It's good.
Right. Beautiful. Now, what would you say is your favorite hobby, Latoya?
Favorite hobby. I am a book collector. I love going to the bookstore and finding a good book. Like bookstores are just almost like my happy place. My sister was like, oh, don't let her go in the bookstore because I will be in there for like hours and probably like I'll sit down and read a little bit, put it back, find another one. Yeah, I like books. I'm a book collector.
Love that. I love bookstores too. I could get lost in time in one.
Yeah.
And then come out with a handful of stuff.
A handful of books.
And go back tomorrow and find some more stuff too.
Yep.
So when you think about travel, Latoya, what would you say is either your favorite place to travel to that you've been or your dream place to travel to?
So we're gonna go with dream place.
Okay.
So one of the destinations on my bucket list is to go to Brazil. I really want to go and experience Brazil, specifically Bahia. I just feel a strong affinity with Brazil. And yeah, I think it'll be dope. And Brazil has the highest population of people of the diaspora outside of Africa. So there's that cultural connection that I would love to just sort of like see and experience and touch.
Yes, beautiful. Yeah. I love that. Okay, so we've talked about your favorite food, your favorite dream travel, and your favorite hobby. So what is your favorite thing to do? No, let me ask you this. What is your favorite childhood game?
My favorite childhood game. I used to love to play the card game Spit. Are you familiar with Spit?
Yes, I heard about Spit, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. And the last question I want to ask you is, what is your favorite thing to do to relax?
My favorite thing to do to relax is to get a massage. I'm a massage fan.
Beautiful. So again, I want to thank you, Latoya. It's been such a pleasure speaking with you today and all the great gems that you shared with our listeners. There was so much to learn. They have so much to go look up, get more information from. I love that. I want to wish you peace, love, that your biggest dreams come true, and that you have the capacity to receive them all.
Oh, thank you so much. I receive all of that and reflect them right back to you. Thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Today's podcast is being sponsored by Your 90-Day Success Journal for Black Women Entrepreneurs by Lynette Cottrell. The journal is available on Amazon. It's inclusive of monthly goals, weekly and daily goals, affirmations, self-care practices, and inspiring quotes from other Black women. Be sure to get your copy today. Your 90-Day Success Journal. Hey sis, so thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you got some great gems today from our beautiful Black woman entrepreneur. You got inspired to go do more. You got re-energized and refreshed. We want you to take the best care of yourself. It is our deep belief that we as Black women entrepreneurs deserve to build our wealth without sacrificing our joy or our health. So we deserve to have the joy, the health, and the wealth. And we love helping you to get there. Again, be sure to leave a comment, rate our podcast, and share it with another beautiful Black woman that you know of. Visit our website at www.wocib.org and check out the great merch we have there for you and the workshops. We're working on some wonderful things for you. All right? We look forward to staying in touch, and until next time, be well.